Welcome the Lord's chosen. Some names don't rise, they resurface, because they were never meant to drown in the first place. There's a strange law in the universe, and psychologists have quietly confirmed it for years. People often regret losing the person they misjudged far more than the person they intentionally betrayed. Why? Because the one they misjudged turns out to be the very person the universe was secretly endorsing the entire time. And if you're a chosen one, you already know this truth in your bones. Your story never unfolds in straight lines, it unfolds in divine loops. You weren't just underestimated. You were mishandled like a rare artifact that someone thought was cheap pottery. But here's the twist. When the universe finally shifts into your luxury karma season, every person who ever thought you were harmless, ordinary, or forgettable suddenly realizes they were dealing with someone whose name is echoing in spiritual boardrooms they've never even imagined. They're about to experience déjà vu, spiritual Wi-Fi lag, and emotional buffering because karma moves in HD, and it rarely edits out the parts people want erased. This is the moment where life gets cinematic. You're not walking into blessings, you're walking into receipts. You're not rising quietly, you're rising with the kind of elevation that makes people stand up, squint, and whisper, "Wait, how did they get there?" And yes, a sprinkle of humor. Let's just say some folks who once dismissed you are currently practicing their apology speeches in the mirror like it's a TED Talk audition. Too late. The stage has changed, the audience has changed, you have changed, so sit tight, because this chapter isn't about revenge, it's about revelation. It's about the season where your existence becomes undeniable proof that the universe never forgot your name. It simply saved the announcement for when the timing became divine. Number one, they didn't misjudge you. They underestimated the contract that protects you. Most people think hurting someone is just a personal act, a moment of disrespect, a careless word, a selfish decision. But when it comes to chosen ones, it's never just personal. There's something deeper happening behind the scenes, something most people never consider. You're operating under a spiritual contract they don't have clearance to understand. So when they wronged you, they weren't just crossing boundaries. They were stepping into territory that was never unprotected. It's like this. Some people handle others casually because they assume everyone is on the same level of divine backing. They think you're just another person, another soul, another name in their story. They don't realize your life is wired into a larger purpose, and anyone who tries to interfere ends up clashing with forces far bigger than you. It's not that you're special in an ego sense. It's that you're plugged into a purpose that requires protection, alignment, and cosmic reinforcement. So when someone tries to sabotage you, they're not just being unkind, they're interrupting a mission that doesn't allow interference. And the strangest part, the more they underestimate that hidden contract, the harder the consequences hit them. They assume life will go on as usual after they disrespect you. They assume nothing will shift. But life has a way of sending reminders, not to punish them, but to correct what they've distorted. Your path was written with precision, and anyone who tries to twist it ends up twisting their own. This is why certain people face sudden regret, unexpected setbacks, or strange emotional heaviness after treating you badly. It's not superstition, it's alignment, snapping back into place. The universe doesn't need you to fight or prove anything. Your protection is automatic, your elevation is scheduled, and their regret is simply the echo of a force they never recognized. They didn't misjudge you. They miscalculated the entire spiritual infrastructure behind you. And now they're living with the cost of touching something that was never unguarded. Number two, when they wronged you, they declared war on the system assigned to guard you. When someone mistreats a chosen one, They usually think they are just crossing an individual, like picking a fight with someone in isolation. What they don't realize is that they aren't just offending you. They are confronting an entire system that has been quietly operating around you. You are never alone in your purpose. There are forces, protections, and alignments surrounding your life that most people can't even sense. When someone tries to harm you, they aren't simply causing pain. They are unknowingly stepping into a realm where consequences are automatic, precise, and unavoidable. This isn't about luck or chance. It's about structure. Your life is threaded into patterns that are built to support your growth, shield your destiny, and correct distortions around you. When someone attacks you, the disruption ricochets through that system. It doesn't get lost or ignored. Instead, it triggers reactions that often appear mysterious to outsiders. Their actions are recorded in the architecture of your life, and the system responds in ways that ensure balance is restored. People rarely understand that they are fighting more than just an individual. They are fighting alignment itself. They attempt to manipulate, belittle, or derail you, assuming your reality is fragile or negotiable. But the truth is, their interference often highlights just how protected and precise your journey is. The universe doesn't intervene out of favoritism. It intervenes to maintain equilibrium. Every insult, betrayal, or attempt to undermine you activates corrections that may take subtle forms at first, then unmistakably assert themselves over time. Those who wrong you aren't simply misbehaving. They are unintentionally challenging forces they cannot see, forces that have been quietly ensuring your survival and success. Their regret, their confusion, and the collapse of their plans are the direct consequences of having tried to oppose something bigger than themselves. When they cross you, it isn't just a personal mistake. It's a misstep against a system they were never equipped to confront, and the fallout is as inevitable as it is enlightening. Number 3, your name echoes. Because higher realms don't whisper when they approve. Not everyone leaves a mark that stretches beyond the ordinary. Some lives are fleeting, barely noticed, while others resonate in ways that touch unseen layers of reality. For chosen ones, your presence is not quiet by accident. The higher realms, forces, energies, and alignments most people can't perceive, don't just nod silently at your existence. When they approve, your essence begins to echo, not in gossip or fame, but in the patterns and currents that guide the universe itself. Your name, your actions, your growth are registered in ways that ripple far beyond your immediate environment, long before the world around you catches up. People who try to diminish you or block your progress often miss this entirely. They think that ordinary measures, insults, betrayal, jealousy, can contain you. What they don't understand is that the universe doesn't need their recognition. Your resonance is already amplified in planes they cannot touch. Every step you take, every choice aligned with your true path, strengthens that echo, sending signals to systems that maintain balance, protect you, and quietly realign reality in your favor. This is why certain doors open for you effortlessly, why some situations bend in ways that seem impossible, and why those who doubted or undermined you often find themselves staring at a reality that no longer bends to their understanding. Your name echoing isn't vanity, it's evidence. It's proof that approval in higher realms doesn't whisper, it reverberates. It reaches corners of life, destiny, and influence that human perception can't track. And it ensures that anyone attempting to block your progress only strengthens the very trajectory they hoped to derail. You don't need to fight for recognition, shout to be heard, or prove your worth. Your existence carries a signal that cannot be silenced by skepticism or malice. That echo is alive, persistent, and undeniable, and it grows louder with every moment you align with your purpose, while others struggle to comprehend what they cannot measure, your name continues to resonate in patterns that shape realities, quiet to them, but profoundly felt in the order of things that truly matter. Number 4, the regret they'll feel isn't emotional, it's existential. There's a certain kind of regret that goes beyond missing someone or feeling guilty about how they acted. It's deeper, heavier, and unsettling in a way that shakes a person to their core. That's the kind of regret people experience when they realize that harming a chosen one wasn't just a mistake they made toward another human being. It was a mistake that shifted something in their own life path. They don't just lose you. They lose the version of themselves they could have become had they not interfered with your journey. When people wrong you, they often think the impact is one-sided. They assume you're the one who suffers. They assume they get to walk away untouched, continuing their life as usual. But what they fail to see is that your presence in their life wasn't random. It was a crossing of destinies. You weren't there as a background character or a temporary comfort. You were a key, an activator, a catalyst disguised as companionship, friendship, or connection. So when they sabotaged you, rejected you, betrayed you, or underestimated you, they weren't just stepping on you. They were stepping on the part of their own timeline that was meant to elevate them. This is where the existential regret comes in. It hits them slowly at first, then suddenly all at once. They begin to notice things. The opportunities that once flowed for them start drying up. The sense of purpose they used to feel becomes foggy, and the confidence they had begins to crack. They start seeing that the moment they shifted their energy against you was the moment something in their own alignment shifted out of place. It's not superstition. It's the loss of a connection that was meant to benefit both sides. They won't miss your presence. They'll miss the version of life they forfeited by mishandling you. It dawns on them that sabotaging you wasn't clever, wasn't justified, wasn't harmless. It was self-sabotage in disguise. And the weight of that truth is the kind of regret that doesn't fade with time. It lingers, it echoes, and it rewrites how they see every choice they made from that moment forward. Number 5, you were the blessing they thought was replaceable until their life started malfunctioning. There's a pattern that repeats itself every time a chosen one walks into someone's life. Things begin to work smoother, opportunities flow a bit easier, and the energy around that person becomes lighter, more stable, more aligned. But most people don't recognize the source of that shift. They assume the improvement is coming from their own efforts, their own charm, their own so-called wins. They don't realize they've been benefiting from your presence, your clarity, your intuition, your grounding nature, your rare ability to bring order where there was quiet chaos. So when they mishandle you, disrespect you, or dismiss you as replaceable, they think they're removing something insignificant. They think they're letting go of someone who can be substituted without consequences. But chosen ones don't leave a space the same after they exit it. They don't just walk away, they unplug. They withdraw the spiritual electricity, the emotional stability, the energetic structure they were unknowingly providing. And suddenly, the life that once seemed steady begins to glitch. This malfunctioning isn't dramatic or cinematic. It's subtle at first. Things stop flowing. Areas of their life that used to be predictable start feeling shaky. The confidence they had begins to wobble. The relationships they counted on become strained. The intuition that once felt sharp turns blurry. They notice setbacks they can't quite explain, opportunities that fall through, plans that collapse mid-air, connections that turn cold for no apparent reason. They start realizing that the peace they enjoyed wasn't coming from within. They were borrowing it from you. Your presence was the stabilizing force they never credited. Your energy kept their world from spinning out of balance. Your guidance, your support, your love, your authenticity, your resilience. That was the infrastructure they were leaning on without even knowing it. When a chosen one unplugs, it exposes the truth. They were not the source of the harmony they were bragging about. You were. And now they're left trying to rebuild a system that was never built to run without you. That's when the regret arrives, not loud, not dramatic, but undeniable. They finally understand that you weren't replaceable. You were the blessing they miscalculated, and their life is now showing them the cost. Number 6, their mockery was a report card on their spiritual illiteracy. Mockery says more about the one laughing than the one being laughed at. When people made fun of you, dismissed your dreams, or tried to reduce you to a joke, they weren't exposing your flaws. They were exposing their own inability to perceive depth. Their laughter wasn't a sign that you were wrong. It was a sign that they lacked the spiritual vocabulary to understand what they were looking at. They judged you with eyes that were too limited, too shallow, too untrained to recognize someone who didn't fit into their basic categories. People often mock what they can't measure. They mock what they can't place. They mock what makes them uncomfortable. And chosen ones naturally confuse those who rely only on surface-level thinking. Your growth didn't follow their logic. Your resilience didn't match their expectations. Your quiet strength didn't fit their formula. So instead of trying to understand, they made jokes. Instead of asking deeper questions, they projected their confusion as sarcasm. Instead of acknowledging their own limitations, they turned you into the punchline. But here's the truth they never saw coming. Their mockery was never evidence of your inadequacy. It was a display of their spiritual illiteracy. They were trying to interpret a complex message with a childish alphabet. They were flipping through your life like a book written in a language they never studied. It wasn't that you were too strange, too ambitious, or too different. It was simply that they lacked the inner maturity to process someone who carried depth. And the proof is always in the aftermath. As you grew, evolved, healed, and stepped into alignment, the same people who once laughed struggled to make sense of your elevation. Their jokes dried up, their smirks faded, their opinions became irrelevant in the shadow of your unfolding, because once your purpose became visible, their ignorance became undeniable. Their laughter never defined you, it revealed them. It showed who could only read surfaces and who had no access to the layers of truth, destiny, and potential that were woven into your life. You weren't misunderstood. You were misread by minds that were never equipped to understand you in the first place. Number 7, karma isn't revenge, it's correction of spiritual misalignment. People love to frame karma as some dramatic payback, a cosmic slap, or a universe-driven revenge story. But that idea is shallow and far from what really happens. Karma isn't about the universe chasing someone down with punishment. It's about restoring the balance that someone tried to distort. When a person wrongs a chosen one, they aren't triggering vengeance. They're activating correction. They're shifting something out of place, and the universe simply shifts it back. Think of it like this. Every action carries an energy. When someone lies on your name, betrays your trust, or tries to dim your light, they create a spiritual imbalance. It doesn't matter if it's subtle or loud. The moment that distortion enters the system, the correction process starts automatically. Not because the universe is angry, but because it's wired to maintain equilibrium. They're not being punished, they're being recalibrated. Their own actions return to them not as wrath, but as a mirror. For chosen ones, this process is often more obvious. You carry a purpose that requires clarity, alignment, and protection. So when someone tries to interfere or derail you, the impact of their actions bounces back faster and more noticeably. It's not because you're untouchable, it's because your path has a designated trajectory, and anything that tries to break that trajectory gets corrected. The universe doesn't allow spiritual interference to go unchecked when someone's journey is part of a bigger picture. What comes back to them may feel harsh, but it's not meant to destroy them. It's meant to teach. Every consequence they face is tied to the imbalance they created. Their setbacks show them the weight of their choices. Their losses reveal the truth of the energy they released. Their regret is simply clarity catching up with them. Karma isn't out to get anyone. It's a balancing force. And when someone tries to twist the scales against a chosen one, the universe doesn't retaliate. It resets. It restores what was shifted. It corrects what was thrown off. And in that correction, the truth of every action finally returns to its sender. Number 8, you triggered them because your destiny exposed their irrelevance. Some people didn't dislike you because of anything you did. They disliked you because your very existence disrupted the story they were telling themselves about who they were. Your presence challenged the version of themselves they were trying to uphold, the version that felt superior, confident, in control, or ahead in life. When someone sees you growing, evolving, or carrying a purpose that stretches beyond their understanding, it shakes something inside them that they've been trying to keep buried. People rarely attack what threatens them physically. True hostility is reserved for what threatens their identity. When someone senses that your destiny is bigger, brighter, or more aligned than theirs, they don't know how to process it. Instead of saying, "This inspires me," they spin the narrative in a direction that protects their ego. That's when the jealousy, insults, backhanded comments, and unnecessary hostility begin. Their reaction isn't rooted in who you are, it's rooted in the fear of who they are not. You didn't trigger them by doing too much. You triggered them by existing in a way that made their excuses feel thin. Your ambition exposed their stagnation. Your resilience exposed their laziness. Your healing exposed their denial. Your authenticity exposed their masks. Your purpose exposed their lack of direction. Every part of you that was aligned shined a light on the parts of them they were avoiding, and instead of facing their own shadows, they projected them onto you. The truth is, your destiny showed them that they were not the main character they believed themselves to be. It revealed that their sense of importance was built on shaky foundations. Your strength didn't intimidate them. The mirror you unintentionally held up did. They weren't fighting you. They were fighting the uncomfortable truth that your presence made impossible to ignore. Their attacks were never about you being too much. They were about them realizing they were not enough in the narrative they constructed for themselves. And instead of rewriting their story, they tried to erase yours. But destiny doesn't shrink because someone feels insecure. If anything, their reaction only confirmed how much you were meant to rise. Number 9, your absence is the audit they never thought they'd face. People often assume that losing you will only affect you. They think your silence is just silence, your distance is just distance, and your departure is just another goodbye. But for chosen ones, leaving someone's life isn't a simple exit, it's an audit. It exposes everything they built on false assumptions, false confidence, and false narratives. You weren't just a presence. You were the stabilizing force that made their world seem more functional than it actually was. When you were in their life, they could afford to lie to themselves. They could pretend they were better, wiser, stronger, or more capable than they truly were, because your energy filled in all the gaps. You made their chaos look manageable. You made their insecurities less obvious. You softened their failures and elevated their self-image without even trying. As long as you were there, they could maintain the story in their mind, that they were fine, that they were in control, that everything was aligned. But when you walk away, every illusion they depended on starts cracking. The lies they told about you and the lies they told about themselves can't hold under the weight of your absence. Suddenly, the version of themselves they tried to present no longer works. The confidence they displayed shows its emptiness. The success they bragged about loses its shine. The relationships they thought were solid begin revealing their true fragility. Your absence forces them to face the reality they avoided. It reveals that the strength they thought they had was actually borrowed. The clarity they operated with was actually yours. The stability they enjoyed was held together by your energy. Without you there to anchor things, the truth becomes impossible for them to outrun. They don't just miss you, they miss the version of themselves they could only maintain when you were present. Your absence becomes the audit that uncovers every hidden imbalance, every exaggerated storyline, and every delusion they relied on to feel whole. You were never the problem. You were the structure. And once the structure is gone, the entire facade comes crumbling down exactly the way it was destined to. Number 10. The divine didn't hide you. It withheld you until the stage was secure. A lot of chosen ones grow up feeling overlooked, unseen, or strangely delayed. You watch others get attention, opportunities, recognition, and momentum while you move through life quietly, almost like you're in the background of your own story. But that isn't hiding, that's protection. The divine wasn't keeping you small, it was keeping you safe from being exposed to environments, people and stages that weren't built to hold the weight of your destiny. Some lights aren't dim. They're simply not switched on until the room is ready. Chosen ones aren't meant for premature exposure. When your purpose carries depth, influence, or spiritual significance, early visibility can attract the wrong eyes, the wrong hands, the wrong energy. The delay you thought was failure was actually shielding. Every closed door was a barrier between you and places that would have either mishandled you or misunderstood you. You weren't being punished. You were being preserved. There were seasons where being seen too early would have destroyed your confidence, warped your gift, or tied your destiny to people who had no business walking with you. The divine wasn't silent. It was strategic. It was organizing the right timing, the right connections, the right growth, and the right clarity, so that when you did step into visibility, nothing and no one could sabotage the foundation beneath you. People may have thought you were behind, slow, or unpromising. They didn't realize that chosen ones are released, not rushed. Your life isn't following the timeline of the crowd because your calling isn't the calling of the crowd. What you're stepping into requires precision. It requires maturity. It requires the right environment that can hold what you carry without distorting it. Now that the stage is finally secure, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and even socially, your emergence won't just be noticed. It will be undeniable. You weren't hidden. You were withheld until the moment your rise would be both protected and unstoppable. The delay was never a setback. It was the divine making sure that when you step forward with a destiny no one can mishandle. Number 11. Those who wronged you are about to learn the cost of mishandling rarity. People love to label you as difficult, complicated, or too much, when the truth is far simpler. You were operating on a frequency they weren't built to handle. You weren't being dramatic. You were being rare. You weren't being sensitive. You were being intuitive. You weren't being guarded. You were being discerning. But instead of appreciating your uniqueness, they treated you like you were ordinary, like you could be replaced with the next convenient option. They handled you with discount hands while expecting premium results. The irony is that people only recognize value after they lose access to it. When you were present, they mistook your consistency for obligation, your kindness for weakness, your depth for intensity, and your loyalty for lack of options. They didn't realize how much of their emotional stability, direction, or even confidence came from your presence. They took your energy as something owed, not something gifted. They believed you'd always be there, absorbing their chaos and elevating their shortcomings while never asking for anything in return. But here's the thing about rare souls. Once you're done, you're done. You don't explode, you don't retaliate, you simply step back. And it's only in your absence that people begin to understand what they were actually dealing with. Their life starts revealing the cracks your presence once covered. The good luck they assumed belonged to them starts drying up. The stability they thought they built starts wobbling. The emotional support they bragged about having suddenly becomes unavailable. They start to realize that what they lost wasn't just a person, it was an ecosystem. Your wisdom, your energy, your intuition, your grounding, your guidance, your genuine care, those aren't traits people stumble upon every day. Those are rare qualities that shift atmospheres and change trajectories. And mishandling that kind of rarity always comes with a cost. You were never hard to deal with. You were simply too valuable for people who didn't have the maturity, self-awareness, or spiritual depth to recognize what stood right in front of them. Now, the regret they feel isn't just emotional, it's awakening. They're finally seeing what you were all along, rare, irreplaceable, and never meant to be handled cheaply. Number 12. Luxury karma isn't about ruin, it's about revelation. People hear the word karma and immediately think of downfall, chaos, or life falling apart. But luxury karma doesn't operate like that. It's not about someone being destroyed. It's about someone being forced to see clearly. It's the kind of karma that doesn't scream or slam doors. It simply turned the lights on. It reveals. It exposes. It removes the fog they used to hide behind and makes the truth so sharp, so undeniable that they can't run from it anymore. This form of karma doesn't take pleasure in their pain. It takes pleasure in clarity. And the clarity hits hardest when your elevation begins to unfold right in front of them. They start realizing that the person they dismissed, underestimated, or mishandled was never ordinary. You were never an extra in their story. You were the part of their life they were never spiritually mature enough to recognize. The revenge isn't in their downfall, it's in your rise. It's in the way your glow becomes impossible to ignore. It's in the way your spirit strengthens, your opportunities increase, your mindset sharpens, and your life starts reflecting the potential they tried to bury. As your life upgrades, their illusions downgrade, and that contrast becomes the lesson they can't escape. Luxury karma shows them exactly what they gave up: the peace your presence brought, the stability your energy created, the clarity your conversations provided, the growth your influence activated, and the rare connection their ego convinced them they didn't need. Watching you rise isn't painful because you won. It's painful because they suddenly understand how deeply they miscalculated you. They begin to see the truth they refused to acknowledge when they still had access to you, that you were a blessing, a mirror, a catalyst, and a source of alignment they won't encounter again. The revelation is the revenge. Your glow is the message. And the regret they feel isn't cruelty. It's the natural consequence of finally seeing the value of what they mishandled. Luxury karma doesn't destroy them. It simply lets them witness what they lost, in high definition. Number 13. You're entering a season where your blessings will contradict their opinions. One of the most poetic moments in a chosen one's journey is when life starts proving people wrong without you ever saying a word. There were individuals who spoke confidently about your limitations, who judged you based on temporary seasons, and who formed opinions rooted in assumptions, not truth. They thought they had you figured out. They believed their narrative about you was final. But the universe has a way of flipping the script in a way that exposes every misconception they ever held. You're stepping into a chapter where your blessings won't just uplift you, they will contradict every negative expectation people projected onto you. The same mouths that once said you were slow, lost, behind, confused, or unworthy will be stunned when life begins delivering opportunities they never imagined you'd touch. And the best part? You won't have to defend yourself, clap back, or force anyone to see your growth. Your blessings will do all the talking. Nothing humbles a hater quite like watching the universe validate the very person they tried to discredit. They'll start to realize that their opinions weren't facts. They were reflections of their own insecurities. Their criticism wasn't insight, it was projection. Their doubt wasn't truth, it was limitation. And as your life breaks every box they tried to place you in, they'll have no choice but to confront how wrong they truly were. Your success will feel like a mirror to them, one that reveals the pettiness, jealousy, and spiritual blindness behind their judgments. It'll dawn on them that while they were busy underestimating you, you were quietly building strength, clarity, resilience, and alignment. You weren't stagnant, you were being prepared. You weren't failing, you were being positioned. This new season won't just elevate you, it will expose everything they misread. The universe isn't responding to their opinions, it's responding to your authenticity, your effort, your endurance, and your purpose. And as blessings begin pouring into your life, the contrast between who they said you were and who you actually are will become undeniable. This is your season of divine contradiction, where your rise becomes the very evidence that their narrative was never the truth. Number 14, your elevation will be the mirror. They've avoided for years. Growth has a way of making people uncomfortable, especially those who spent years trying to diminish you. Your rise won't simply show them that they misjudged you. It will force them to confront truths about themselves they've been avoiding. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every alignment you step into acts like a mirror, reflecting the gaps in their character, the limits of their vision, and the choices they've been too afraid to face. They've spent years projecting blame outward, masking insecurities and ignoring the parts of themselves that were stagnant or unresolved. Your elevation refuses to let them keep hiding. It's not just about proving them wrong, it's about illuminating what they've refused to see. While they were busy underestimating, dismissing, or undermining you, you were quietly building, refining, and aligning. Your clarity exposes their confusion. Your confidence exposes their hesitation. Your resilience exposes their avoidance. And because they've avoided looking inward for so long, your growth becomes unavoidable for them. It challenges their comfort zones and threatens the stories they've told themselves about who they are versus who they want to be. They may try to rationalize, downplay, or ignore your success, but your energy carries undeniable proof. Your life becomes a living record of discipline, purpose, and alignment, something they can't fabricate, borrow, or manipulate. And the truth hits harder because it's not loud or vindictive, it simply exists. Your rise isn't revenge, it's revelation. It doesn't just reflect what you've accomplished. It reflects what they've been avoiding within themselves for years. Eventually, they can no longer ignore the contrast between your evolution and their stagnation. The mirror you hold up doesn't just show them what they missed in you. It exposes the uncomfortable realities of who they are, what they've avoided, and the price of ignoring the presence of someone rare and aligned. Your elevation isn't just a personal triumph, it's a force of truth, a reflection they can't escape, and a reminder that authenticity always casts light, even on those who refuse to see it. Conclusion. Being a chosen one is not about being noticed. It's about being aligned. It's about walking a path that most people cannot perceive, carrying a presence that challenges the ordinary, and operating in a space where your life becomes proof of unseen laws at work. Those who wronged you, doubted you, or tried to diminish you are not simply facing disappointment. They are confronting consequences that are deeper than emotion, sharper than judgment, and as inevitable as the universe itself. Your journey has been protected, curated, and timed with precision. Every moment of delay, every misjudgment by others, every underestimation has been a setup for the revelation of your purpose. When your light shines, it won't just illuminate your path, it will expose the illusions, insecurities, and blind spots of everyone who failed to see your worth. Your rise is the correction of miscalculations, the mirror they avoided, the reminder that rarity cannot be handled cheaply. Luxury, karma, alignment, and elevation are not about revenge or spectacle. They are about clarity, balance, and proof. Your presence, your energy, and your blessings are designed to reveal truth, both to you and to those who tried to derail you. The universe has been orchestrating every step so that when the timing is right, your glow becomes undeniable, your path unstoppable, and your journey unshakable. Remember, being chosen is not a label, it's a mandate. And when the right season arrives, your life becomes a testament that misjudgment, betrayal, and ignorance never go unnoticed. They simply return as insight, clarity, and revelation to those who ignored what they couldn't comprehend. If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content that speaks to your journey. Like this video to amplify its reach. Comment your thoughts and experiences below, and share it with anyone who needs to witness the power of alignment and truth. Your presence here is part of the energy that keeps this movement growing. Don't underestimate it. Stay blessed always.